Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about one of the worst late night TV show hosts of all time, none other than Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel used to actually be pretty funny. He used to host a comedy show on the Comedy Central network called The Man Show. That was pretty good. I appreciated that show. Had a lot of laughs but since then, Jimmy Kimmel has been the worst. He has this talk show that started off okay, but along with everyone else, he changed to going full blown political since 2015. All the late night shows are now super leftist. They only bash Trump every single night. It's very, very cringy. And Jimmy Kimmel's one of the worst of them. He's done a lot of this crap. He's done a lot of like fake crying, trying to get healthcare passed, making these political messages, going anti Trump, like sharing false videos about VP Pence that were like misedited and misrepresenting what happened. He's done a lot of political stuff, and that's why we're very happy to say that it's very possible Jimmy Kimmel could be canceled this summer. Now, I'm not one to gloat here. I'm not one to say, hey, I want any comedian to be fired. I'm not like that at all. I don't think anyone on our side is about censoring things and having this sorts of cancel culture. But since cancel culture does exist, since they are going after us each and every day, I think it's only fair that we apply the same rules to these leftists. They would happily cancel us for doing far less than what they're getting away with. So I think Jimmy Kimmel getting his comeuppance here is definitely justice served. It's just desserts, as they say. And that's what we're talking about today. Basically, Jimmy Kimmel has gotten into trouble for a number of things in this past. More specifically, he got caught wearing transracial makeup. That's right. If you put on too dark of makeup, according to leftists, you can be called racist and get fired and removed from your job. And Jimmy Kimmel did this a number of times in his comedy career. Again, not something I would call offensive. I'm not really one focused on this race baiting stuff. I don't really care what kind of makeup you wear, but this is something they've canceled many other people for, and it's coming back to bite them in the butt. So Jimmy Kimmel had been caught wearing transracial makeup a number of times. These clips are resurfacing, and in addition, it actually gets even worse because he started using a very offensive racial slur as well too. We all, of course, know the one that used to identify black people, the N-word, as they put it a lot of times. It's very offensive. No one wants to say that. We're not trying to say that here, but Jimmy Kimmel did a number of times. This article has more details, and this is only the beginning. It says, Jimmy Kimmel slammed by Donald Trump Jr. social media over N-word controversy. Apparently, Jimmy admitted to imitating rapper Snoop Dogg's voice for a track in a 1996 Christmas album and using the N-word. Very, very bad form, a very bad thing for anyone to do in this day and age. I mean, again, it's not really a big deal for me. I don't even think it's a big deal for most black people because they say that word a lot. They throw it into their songs, into their social media and whatever. They use it all the time. But they will also turn on people if they pull it off, especially if you're a white person. And I think even a liberal white person might not be getting away with it because, like we said, Jimmy Kimmel is likely, very possibly, going down this summer. And this is just the beginning. There's another story with Megan Fox, which we'll get to, a very inappropriate kind of line of jokes he had with her in the past. And in addition, it's also worth noting that Jimmy Kimmel has taken a long break. He's not doing his show this summer. I think he's taking off like 2 months. And I think it's because he knew what was up. He wanted to get out of the spotlight and hope that things will die down because it's really going to be hard for him to defend himself after this. As racial tension continues to build across America and beyond, several celebrities are finding themselves the subject of public criticism for inappropriate behavior. In recent weeks, late night talk show host Jimmy Kimmel is among those finding backlash for their past actions. Fox News recently obtained audio from a 2013 podcast in which Kimmel, now 52, admitted to having used the N-word in '96 when imitating Snoop Dogg for a Christmas song. There's a picture of Jimmy. He's all skinny, looking like a doucher now, and he says he's come under fire for recent and several incidents of inappropriate behavior. In the same interview, the comic imitated black comedian George Wallace by altering his speech pattern. One of Kimmel's top critics was Donald Trump Jr., who tweeted, "To be clear, I'm 100% against punishing comedians for jokes, even bad jokes from unfunny hack comedians like Jimmy Kimmel, but according to the left's own woke rules that Jimmy Kimmel wants to force others to live by, it's hard to see how ABC Network allows him to keep his show." This is very true, and what's going to eventually come up is Roseanne. Roseanne is another big name and artist that was working at the same network, ABC, and she was fired for far less. Like ABC didn't even wait and think about it. They fired Roseanne a few years back just for making some joke. I forget what even was. It was not nearly as racist as the N word or any of this other stuff. She didn't do transracial makeup. She didn't say something about Snoop Dogg or whatever. She had like one line that got her fired right away. And it's just kind of the silence on this is deafening from ABC. And Donald Trump Jr. makes a good point. We're not trying to cancel comedians. We're not the ones that are pushing cancel culture. But since it is out there, since we can't get away from it, we should enforce it evenly. I don't see why we can have this double standard, even though the leftists seem to thrive in these kinds of double standards and hypocrisies. So Jimmy Kimmel says the N-word acts in transracial makeup and makes light of sexual exploitation of women, wrote a Twitter user, "This is your king. Jimmy Kimmel is a racist piece of trash who needs to be fired immediately. Using the N-word is not okay. Jimmy Kimmel must resign. It is a mandated thing to do when you use that word," wrote a critic. He went into hiding with the hope that it will all be forgotten. But since he is a Democrat, he will be forgiven in the end. Jimmy Kimmel turned using the N-word into an art. He said it more times in one tape than Snoop Dogg did in his entire career, said another, "Cancel this racist." So people are jumping on board with the cancel train, which again, we wouldn't normally be behind. And you could say some people will try to call that whatever offensive, say we're hypocritical, but no, it's like they started these rules, they push this on everyone else. They want to cancel, cancel, cancel. So the fact that they think they can get away with it and go into hiding or whatever, that's the real story here. And that's the real messed up thing. This has happened with a number of these comedians here. They're referencing a Tina Fey report where she's taking down some 30 Rock episodes. We reported on another video where some It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episodes were taken down because of transracial makeup. And in addition, Tina Fey's former co-host on Weekend Update was Jimmy Fallon, and he got caught with that kind of transracial makeup, and he's actually got his show back up, and now he's going totally like anti-white. He's pandering to all these liberal racists to try to get himself back in their favor. It's a real mess, and it sucks because they started this on their own. So here's the other story about this. It says, recently, a several years old clip from Jimmy Kimmel Live began to circulate the internet again, in which Megan Fox describes an encounter with director Michael Bay, who was accused of sexualizing her for a movie when she was just 15, calling it a microcosm of how Bay's mind works. Well, that's really a microcosm of how all our minds work, but some of us have the decency to repress those thoughts and pretend they don't exist, Kimmel responded, which earned him backlash as well and furthered the damage to his reputation. So yeah, this is the other part of the story. This is the turn. We had the setup, which was, the transracial makeup, using these racial slurs, and now we're getting into sexualizing underage women. We're talking about Megan Fox working with Michael Bay, probably on Transformers, which was like their first movie together, one of Megan Fox's big kind of breakout roles from around 2007. I'm not sure how old she was back then or if this was like before or after that, but it's definitely a bad look. It's definitely questionable. I'm not going to say anything more than that. Like, he's not like a total creeper. He's just kind of making an off-color joke that's rather inappropriate. But again, it goes along with this stuff we're talking about. We're not talking about being the cancel culture. We're not talking about, we want to attack these comedians for doing their jobs and trying to make jokes which push the line and kind of question things and give you, more controversial things to think about. That's usually funny and it can work. I don't think this stuff is funny, and I don't think Jimmy Kimmel deserves any defense. And that's why we're kind of just turning it back on them and saying, hey, if you're going to cancel all these people, you need to follow the rules as well. And think about your past, don't pretend you just started your career today or yesterday. I mean, remember, these bad things are going to pop up. People are going to find the clips. It can happen to anyone. So that's why these guys should really be anti-cancel culture too. Hopefully this is the kind of thing that will turn that around. Maybe it's just me, but Jimmy Kimmel saying that word shouldn't be getting more attention than him laughing about a 15-year-old speaking out about how she was abused by a film director and sexualized. Yeah, some could consider that worse. Many people also call for Kimmel to be replaced as the host of this year's Emmy Awards. Okay, Jimmy Kimmel using that word in a song he recorded in 96. Y'all forgave him for doing transracial makeup, but at this point he needs to lose that Emmys gig and some sponsorships. He's never had to face consequences and needs to. Kevin Hart had to give up hosting the Oscars for decade-old tweets, yet Jimmy Kimmel did multiple sketches in transracial makeup and gets to host the 2020 Emmys? Huh? Yeah, that's a great point. Kevin Hart had a tweet from like 20 years ago that was like a possible, I think it was a joke about gay people or something, and he couldn't host the Oscars, but the Emmys are okay with this. And it just goes to show the double standard, the kinds of world that we're living in where leftists can get away with anything. They can accuse others of doing bad things. They call you racist, this or that. But really, they're the ones kind of just trying to cancel people and being the negative Nancy's. And then here's more about the Michael Bay story, backlash about the Megan Fox interview. This is disgusting. Obviously, an inappropriate claim and something from a while ago. In the clip, Fox, now 34, recalls working as an extra on Bad Boys 2. So yeah, this was before Transformers. This was when she was much younger. That was 2007. Bad Boys 2, I think, was 2002 or 3, so like 5 years before that. Yeah, it's just a really bad look for them. It shows how the times have changed. This new Me Too stuff is getting everyone in hot water. And, like I said, I'm not saying anyone deserves to lose their jobs, but screw Jimmy Kimmel. He's a jerk, dude. He's a total liar. He cries on command. He's a total beta boy. And, I cannot stand up for him. I can't stand the guy. He's ruining talk shows and late night. He's going after Trump, lying about stuff. He's just a really bad actor, and he deserves whatever he gets. Okay, we got a quick little update on this Kimmel story before we finish up today. Basically, Kimmel has since apologized if he hurt or offended anyone with his transracial makeup and offensive language. Yes, Jimmy Kimmel has been forced to apologize. I found it a bit weak, though. I read over it, and it's kind of a long, drawn-out thing. It's not really changing much. He basically just caved in. He tried to apologize to save skin, save his butt here, and he didn't really address the main issue. Like he says he's been reluctant to address this. The delay was a big mistake. There's nothing more important than I apologize for those who were genuinely hurt and offended by the makeup I wore and the words I spoke. So it's kind of like a non-apology. It's basically him copping out. And it's a part of the story now. I wanted to add this in, but this doesn't really change what we said before. That about wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Also hit that like button to get things shared. And until next time, we'll see you on the other side. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about our new second channel. NoBS News has been really ramping up recently. We've got over 10,000 subscribers now, and it's growing each and every day. This is a new extra channel where I can give you guys more content, which includes extra videos, sometimes streams, sometimes other fun things too, clip shows, whatever you like. NoBS News is going to have it there for you. So make sure you check it out by either searching NoBS News on YouTube or clicking the link below this video. Thanks for your time. Have a good one.